just want to open it up and look at the cards. And each Oracle deck, when you get one, is going to have a guidebook with it, and they're virtually going to say the same thing. And one of the things about the Oracle decks that is so great is the beautiful artwork they all have. They just are amazing, and so it's just. And since this is not your deck, you haven't had it before, what I'd like you all to do is just take it and put it in your left hand, and then put your right hand over it and bless it and ask that anything not for your best and highest good, please leave. And then take a nice deep breath. And now go through and just look at the cards and find a card that really talks to you. Here I've asked you to choose a deck that talks to you, and now I want you to choose a card that talks to you. Because I wonder if Clarky wanted to be recording this.
I think she did.
Maybe I better stop talking.
These cards are really pretty.
And if the deck you have isn't talking to you, come get another deck. Were you going to start recording this?
I need it in for you.
Okay, thank you. I just put those cards in there so I wouldn't have to deal with it. Thank you. Because each deck has a different energy, and last I checked, there were over 300 different Oracle decks on the market. So if you think you'd like to have a collection of Oracle decks, you're gonna find it. And they more and more come out. Because what people have found is this is a lot easier way to get quick answers than using the tarot or using a regular deck. But quite often they just deal with one question. But how wonderful to be able to jump up and ask your Oracle cards a question. Now, you can use these to do readings on other people. And so I'm going to be talking about that this morning, about how many of you have ever done readings for other people or had somebody else give a reading to you. And there's a difference in which seat you're in. If you're doing it for yourself, there's a different energy than if you're doing it for somebody else. And if you're doing it for somebody else, you need to realize not to get yourself involved. I had for instance, there was a gentleman that came to see me who was majorly depressed. Well, I had to immediately put up some barriers so I didn't take on his depression, because you're going to find if you're dealing with people going through things, and most times when they're looking for help or answers, it's because they're going through stuff. So you want to make sure that you have the ability to shield. And so the best way for shielding is to put white light around you. And I'm sure you've all heard of white light. And that is a God light, a Christ light, whatever you feel the creator or the originator or the divine is called, take that energy and put that white light around you. And so in doing that, you'll find that you are protected. And sometimes you have to do it 14 times a day. Some days you don't feel you have to do it at all. Did you burn yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry, do you want to get anything for it, or are you gonna be okay?
I'm working on it now.
You're gonna heal it? Oh, good. Okay. So, the notebook that we handed out, since we started out with, I was doing a class on doing a regular deck, and Gloria was doing a class on Oracle cards. You're going to find that it starts out reading an Oracle deck. And so if you want to read this, or that's fine, if you don't have to, because I'm going to talk about it. And because one of the things that you'll find with an Oracle deck, and almost everybody I know who's into metaphysics, spirituality, has some kind of deck that they have found. And the best place to get them, really, that I know of, is East West Bookstore, because they have so many decks. And you can go and you can look at them, and you can feel them, and that's great. But if you want to get it a little faster or cheaper, you can go online and find a deck. But find one that talks to you, because a lot of them are very feminine based. Now, why do you think that is?
Because more women do it.
No, but thank you. Thank you for your input. Because this all started out during the goddess time. And that energy came down, and when you hear of these great beings, like the Pythia, which is Oracle at Delphi, so many times they're female. And you have a picture in your head quite often of an old wise woman doing it. So that female energy, there's no reason that men aren't pictured on more decks, because there's some men that are very intuitive. It just became the standard that it was going to be female. And they're quite often, when you get a bunch of people together, that they'll be talking about the cards, the men won't have any idea what you're talking about, because it isn't geared to the masculine energy, it's more geared to the feminine energy. But as far as I can see, it's geared to that part of the female energy within you that connects with the divine. So all you have to do is just find something that really talks to you. For instance, this one is the Druid Animal deck. We have one here that's the soul lessons. So it's not all about the female gender, it's about that female energy. And when you think about that, quite often the male energy, we see it as being strong, responsible, money maker, father, and we see the female is the more receptive, intuitive, that they're going through life accepting things without making change. Well, as we know, everybody has all of those qualities within them. And so, especially as you get more and more into spirituality, you'll find there's some of the most spiritual people you know are male, and some of the women that are just really the hardest to deal with are female. And so it has nothing to do with gender, it's just that's the way we've been putting it. Just like when I talk about the left hand is receiving and the right hand is giving. Okay, the left hand is female, the right hand is male. And that is the energy that flows through. But it doesn't mean that one has a vagina and the other one has a penis. It's not that type of energy. Paul's looking at his hands. Which one's that? It's just that it has to do with that unique spirituality and that energy. So what I want you to do now is, did everybody get one card that they really feel attached to? Okay, and I want you to just take it and hold it in your hand and just clear your mind. And just feel the cards and feel the energy. And now ask a question. Now it doesn't have to do with this card, but just ask a question. In your head, ask a question. Something that's really been bothering you, or something that you're happy about but you want to have some change, and ask it a question. And when you're ready, look at the card and see what it says to you. made your notebook so that you can write on the back of each page. You've got a pen, and so if anything comes. Now that you've got that answer, because what you did is you pre-selected the card, right? Now we're going to take your deck, your full deck, and fan it out in front of you, upside down. So that everything, oh, I'm sorry, Kim. So that everything, all of the pictures are upside down.
Keep going.
You can put it back in the deck, okay? So you're playing with the full deck, okay?
So
Just put it
speak.
back in. And then go, and just now, we're going to ask our wonderful, wonderful spirit guide consciousness the question. And so as you do, you can say it out loud if you want, you can say it internally, but your guide's going to get it. And ask that same question. What we're doing is we're checking the relative merit of the cards and the spirituality of them. So ask the same question, and with your left hand, just go over the cards. Just kind of make a sweep over the cards until you feel one that's saying, pick me, or one that just says, stop here. And if there's two cards you get, that's fine, but just pick up, right where you stopped, pick up a card. Get to that card, turn it over and look at it, and see if that applies to your question better than the previously selected card. See how you've done. Okay, Paul, how did this one work? Did it work better than pre-selecting the card?
It applies to my question.
Good. Yeah. Yeah, Stacy, how'd you
Yeah.
do? Yeah, isn't that interesting if you give up the power? Because quite often we like to be in control, but if you give up the power, how did yours do, Christina?
I'm not sure.
Okay. And Kim?
I'm not sure either.
Okay. And so you might want to think about it. And then again, if you want to write it down or whatever, and put it down. And for me, the first card I picked was Happily Ever After. Isn't that a great card? And so then when I let the spirits choose it for me, it said Family Harmony. Well, I think those go well together.
Wow.
You know? And so, Kim, what did you get?
Well, the first card I picked when I was trying to pick a card that answered the question was Gratitude, and the second one was Mother. But the question I had asked was, what should I be doing that I'm not already doing? And I'm not getting the answer from these.
Well, I don't know, mothering is a pretty, you know, and, you know, when you think of mothering, quite often it doesn't really have to do with your kids, it has to do with yourself. Think about that. That is so, I was doing a thing with Ho'oponopono, all of you know what that is, and I said, and this gentleman said, well, how does that apply? I said, apply it to yourself. Forgive yourself. Start talking about working with yourself. And so that mothering is more about mothering you. You take care of everybody else. What happens when you stop and mother yourself? Does that make more sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Christina, how did you do?
The first card I picked was like divine timing, and then the second card was freedom.
Well, I like that. Did either of those apply to the question you were asking?
I don't know, I'm not sure.
Okay, well, think about it. Do you want to let me know what the question is and I can talk to you about it?
Not right now.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, Paul, how did you do?
My first card was love,
Oh, great.
and then I got my answer, And then my second card was diligence, which
Yeah,
applies to my situation, so,
Uh-huh. Good, so they were working, yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, Corky, did you do it? No. Oh, my gosh. Ah.
I'm not diligent at all.
Okay, Stacy, how was yours?
Oh, well, the first card I picked was choose to be happy
Mm-hmm.
now, something like that. And then the second card I picked was keep your eyes on your targeted intention.
Wow.
Yeah, so this, I felt that, I mean, the first one really isn't related to the second one, really, but I like the first one because I've had situations come up in my life for the past year, and I've just been in a funk. So anyways, the first card I purposely picked because I felt that applied, but this one definitely applies to my question.
And it's also going to depend on the cards you choose. You know, the box of cards you choose, what they're relating to. For instance, this one has to do with the soul, and this one has to do with how to be a coach, and these were animals, and this is ask your spirit guide. Each box that you chose, and so that's one of those things that really works. Yeah.
I picked the Archangel Michael because I just thought it was really unusual for a deck, and I liked the picture, but yeah, Archangel Michael is like the big protector angel, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The big warrior angel.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's Corky's guy.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's the patron saint for police officers.
Oh.
Yeah, so he's the one that's standing there with his foot on the devil and his big sword up. And
Mm-hmm.
I thought his foot was on the dragon.
well, it depends on. Yeah, it's the devil has a pointed tail and kind of winged things.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
He's an angel.
So, good, an archangel. Okay. And so now, now, do you want to play with this? Do you want to try it again before I have you read somebody else?
Well, okay.
Okay, because that's what you're here for. You're going to learn how to help yourself and how to help others. And so, if you want to use the same deck, what you're going to do is shuffle it, and always treat your cards very gently, because they have such wonderful, wonderful energy. The idea of the symbolic, the thing about numbers, the thing about pictures, is they open us up to being able to receive spirit. And just like music opens us up, meditation opens us up, but these are very interesting at how they do that. And when you shuffle, you might want to, if you can hold them, because some people's hands just aren't big enough, and you can just go like that, and move them through. And you always keep the pattern. Every deck has a different pattern on the back, and so when you get done, try this again. This time, fan them all out. And you can ask the same question, or you can ask another question. Remember to keep yourself white lighted, meaning keep that white light of the energy around you. And as you go through her, just ask another question. And see, so because you will have ended up 3 times now asking question. Now it could be the same question, or it could be a brand new question. And Corky, you want to play with us? Instead of being our videographer?
So is there any questions that are you shouldn't ask, or is
No,
it better to have
You can
it
ask any questions you want.
more open, defined?
You'll find the more specific you are, the more specific the cards will be. The more vague you are, the more vague the cards are, I was amazed, I have you, for those of you who get the CCL Insights, it says ask Dottie one question. And so last night, I turned on my computer and I got an email from a lady and said, what is my life's purpose?
Oh my.
So that's one question.
What is
I
that?
know, that's one question. And so I thought, okay. And so my spirit guide, Mom, said, your life's purpose is to be happy, joyous, and not bug your husband.
Oh!
Okay.
I said, I don't know this woman. I don't know if she's married. I don't know anything. And I said, Ma, is that what you mean? And he said, no, not really. I love it when I speak because he said what I meant was that her whole being in this lifetime seems for her is to tell other people what to do. And I want her
That was a
purpose
gentle
in
way to say
life-
it, huh?
Her purpose in life was to be able to be happy and joyous within herself. And so I kind of tweaked that a little bit, but I never know what Ma's gonna say. And for those of you who have a spirit guide that talks to you, you'll know what I mean, because sometimes he's just so out there. So what was going on is he was a little bit upset by the
That's
questions
interesting.
because it's so vague.
Yeah, isn't it?
You know, and so no, you can, the vague questions,
Okay.
you'll probably get a vague answer. The specific questions, you'll probably get something a little bit more specific. Yes, Paul?
You answered it.
Oh, all of a sudden a finger went up. I went,
Well,
yes.
no, well, I'm sorry.
We've got 9 more we can do. That's great. So you have them all laid out. Now you can ask the same question, or you can ask a different question. Always when you pull the cards, pull them with your left hand, because there again, this is the receiving energy. And just go through them. And if you want to smush them around or keep them fanned out, remember right now this is your deck. You can use for anything you want. Okay. So take a nice deep breath, go inside, and ask the question. Okay, and then you can draw your card.
Give me.
This is interesting, the lady that called and said she was going to be here. She's not here.
Right.
It always is interesting.
Right.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That is a good idea, Christina. Yep, if you want to, get your guidebook and look at what you chose.
And see what they say the answer is.
Mhm.